Are you a worrywart? I saw a meme on the internet the other day where it went something like this. I know worrying works because most of the things I worry about, they never happen. Do you agree? When we worry about something, we go into these highly negative scenarios. And what happens is we feel anxiety in our body about something which is not happening right now. It's a future event, and our nervous systems cannot differentiate between something which is actually happening and something that is imagined because the thoughts that run in our minds are the same. So the nervous system kicks into high arousal state and starts pumping all these stress hormones into the body. So we are getting emotionally charged for something that is not yet happening, but the body reacts as if we are in the middle of that scenario. And let's assume that a negative scenario ended up happening. And you worried and obsessed about it 10 times before it happened. So you kind of went through it 11 times, 10 times when you were worrying about it, and one time when it actually happened. So the body went through this range of emotions and stress 11 times. Why tax our bodies so many times? Why not just face it when it happens? Now, does that mean we just bury our heads in the sand and say, no, it's all good, or stick our fingers in our ears and go, la, 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 life is beautiful? No, we are rational people. We can strategize. We can look at a situation and see what could go wrong and then come up with action steps which will let us know what needs to be done in case something goes south. And we see it happening in the fire drills or lockdown and evacuation exercises where um, we go through a series of steps so that we are prepared when the actual emergency happens and we are not panicking. Similarly, we can strategize for events in our life. Let's take an example to see how strategizing and worrying might compare. So let's say I am currently unemployed and I am looking for a job. Look at this situation from a sense of strategizing about the event. So I look at my own skill set and I look at the market and I can see what kind of jobs are there for a person in my position. So I brush up my resume, I apply for those open positions, I reach out to the recruiters directly. I also network with my friends and circulate my resume internally. And my strategy is that for the next 3 months, I will try to get a job, and in case that does not happen, then I need to kick into high gear because I can only sustain this for 6 months. So after 3 months, I probably start freelancing or taking a part-time gig, or even be open to accept positions which may be a step down from my current role. So that's my strategy. And every month I recalibrate. At the end of every month, I see where I'm at, if something else need to be done. So if I feel that I need more skills, then I equip myself with that and I make changes as I go so that before the end of 6 months I have a job and I am secure. That would be strategizing. Now let's compare this with how worrying might work in this situation. So it might go something like, oh my God, I don't have a job now, and people say the economy is so bad. I have a good skill set, but maybe they're not even hiring for that. What will happen if I don't get a job? I only have resources for the next 6 months. And what if there's an emergency? I might even lose the resources and I might not even have enough for 3 months. What will happen then? God, I might have to ask one of my friends to move in who would help me. I don't like it at all to be at the mercy of other people. What will I do? Gosh, I'm panicking. This is my worst nightmare. So, you see what we are doing in case of obsessing over the situation. There is no plan there. We are just going on a downward spiral and digging this hole for ourselves. There's no action plan here. All we are doing is obsessing about these negative scenarios, and it seems like a misery fest. We are just going deeper down this rabbit hole. So you see, when we worry, we exaggerate everything. And in life, when push comes to shove, we actually show up. We handle the circumstances. Remember times from your own life when you were in emergency situations. You showed up. You did what was needed to be done in that moment. We all have this inner resilience with which we can work. It's just that when we sit and obsess over something, in that moment we feel so helpless because we just keep going into these obsessive uh, thoughts and creating these loops of negativity for us. So, next time you have this anxious thought about an event which may not work in the future, then instead of just sitting there and obsessing over it and coming up with scenarios that might not work, let's take a pause, let's strategize, come up with an action plan, and put down concrete steps that can be taken. We can rationally come up with strategies when undesirable events happen and act from a place of power instead of behaving like helpless victims and going into these looping thoughts about scenarios which may or may not occur. So instead of worrying, let's start strategizing and show up as empowered individuals whenever these scenarios occur. Don't be a worrywart. Good luck.